Good evening. On behalf of Mr. Ricky Richard Paul Mendiola Jr. and the Mendiola family, thanks so much for being here with us this evening. It means a lot to the family for your prayers and your support and just your presence here with them tonight. Our celebration of life will begin here in a few minutes. Before it does, I'd like to ask if you can please check your cell phones one more time to make sure they're either off or on silent, as to not to disturb the service this evening, and also out of respect for the Mendiola family. Celebration of life is, we will start with Miss Rose Parton. Yes, ma'am. And anyone else would like to speak after her, more than welcome to. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rose Parton. I am the aunt of Ricky, and Ricky's father was my brother. And I'd like to open the evening with a prayer, please. So if you could bow your heads. Almighty God, to you all hearts are open, all desires known, and from you no secrets are hid. Cleanse the thoughts of our hearts by the inspiration of your Holy Spirit, that we may perfectly love you and worthily magnify your holy name. Through Christ our Lord. Amen. On behalf of all of the family, I welcome you. We are all here to celebrate Ricky, and I'd like to start by reading a portion of his obituary. Ricky was born on October 30th, 1989 in Newport News, Virginia. He passed away on August 11th, 2021 here in San Antonio at the age of 31. He was preceded in death by his father, Richard Paul Mendiola, his grandparents, Mike and Aurelia Lerma, and George and Francis Mendiola, as well as his uncle, Jesse J. Mendiola. He is survived by his mother, Belinda Mendiola, his beloved dog, Jim, which many of you have had the privilege of meeting tonight, his brother and sister-in-law, Patrick and America Mendiola. Also, his nephew, Jesse Mendiola. He also has many aunts, uncles, cousins, and friends, and he will be greatly missed by all of them. It is surreal being here for me. It's been less than a year that we were here in this very room memorializing Ricky's dad, Richard. And now the sudden loss of Ricky is heartbreaking for the family, especially for Belinda, Patrick, and America. And while we do not understand why this has happened, we need to stand together to love and support each other. Tonight, let's remember the person Ricky was, a kind and caring person to all he knew. He had a cheerful personality and always had a smile on his face. Ricky was a good son, a good brother, and friend to many. Let's remember the good times with Ricky and pray for peace and comfort for the family. I'd like to pray, Father of all, we pray to you for those whom we love but see no longer. Grant to them eternal rest. Let light perpetual shine upon them. May their souls and the souls of all the departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen. At this time, I invite anyone who would like to share a story or a memory of Ricky to please feel free to come forward. Thank you.
I know you probably all can't see me, but I'm Sylvia Mendiola Roundy. I am one of Ricky's aunts. First, I would like to say to Belinda, Patrick, America, Jesse, as well as to all the other aunts, uncles, numerous cousins, and friends, how sorry I am of the sudden loss of our beloved Ricky. I'm really grateful for Ricky's life. I see it as such a blessing to have had him in our lives, and I admire that he stayed close to his parents the last few years, Rick and Belinda, especially this past year, which was especially difficult for his mom. So he was such a blessing and a good companion. I also admire his love and caring showed through, especially for his pug, Jim. I really admire that in him, and they were very tight, as you can see. To all of his friends, either from elementary school, the neighborhood, a co-worker, school, I want to thank you all for being here and being a friend to Ricky. That was a very special meaning to him, I'm sure. This also today reminds me of when we lost our younger brother, Jesse, 25 years ago, when he was almost at Ricky's age of 31. This memory is still very fresh in my mind, and I still can clearly see how his friends were so shocked and saddened and impacted by this death, because it really is something that most 30-year-olds don't think about. So when you remember Ricky and this moment, remember to cherish your friends and relationships. It's comforting to know for me that what Ricky was doing, he was enjoying what he was doing the last few days or months and years. He was working by helping people, and he was getting his degree in gaming online, and was privileged to be one of his Facebook friends with Ricky Midas and follow him. And I didn't know what he was doing, but I just hit like every time, and so that always will hold special meaning to me. So Belinda, Patrick, America, and Jesse, just rely on your family, your faith. I know you're a woman of faith, and friends, and just to know that we will support you all the time. I'd like to just read a little verse that speaks to Ricky's character of love, peace, and hope, and has special meaning to me as well. From Romans 15:13. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. And also, as Jesus said in his Sermon on the Mount from Matthew 5:4, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. I'd like to just thank and point out Patrick for the beautiful job that he did with the slide show, and for all those who submitted pictures and photos. And thanks to all those who contributed to the GoFundMe request and made such touching comments online and through Facebook and through the comments section. I just want to thank you all very much for coming tonight and to celebrate Ricky's life. Thank you. Oh, next will be my sister, another aunt, Norma Mendiola Gerald.
And again, you probably can't see me. My husband Everett is standing here to give me moral support. I'll try to get through this. Probably my favorite thoughts of Ricky are his sweet, gentle kindness, his little smile and giggle, and just this, he had this just shyness about him that I just loved. But he was always ready to hear a good story, and I will miss him. A couple of weeks ago, well before I knew this day would be here, I came across something on Facebook, of all places, that I really enjoyed reading, and it spoke to me. So I kept it in my notes, and this was really amazing. Before I came over here, I got a Siri message that just said, Siri found something you may want. And it was this note. I thought it was amazing that that happened. So I'm going to read first Psalm 23 that most of us already know. And usually people associate Psalm 23 with death. But then afterward, I'm going to reread it with some commentary on another way to look at it. And forgive me ahead of time, I forgot my reading glasses. So I'll give it a good shot. So this is Psalm 23 by itself. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He refreshes my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest before me a presence in front of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So I'm going to reread it now with some commentary. The Lord is my shepherd. That's a relationship. I shall not want. That's supply. He maketh me lay down in green pastures. That's rest. He leadeth me beside still waters. That's refreshment. He restoreth my soul. That's healing. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness. That's guidance. For his name's sake, that is purpose. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. That's protection. For thou art with me. That's faithfulness. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. That's comfort. They preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. That's hope. Thou anointest my head with oil. That's consecration. My cup runneth over. That's abundance. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. That's blessing. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord. That's security. Forever. That's eternity. I just thought that was very meaningful. Another way to look at the psalm that everybody associates with death, and look at it in a different way as to the promise of God that this world is not the end. This world is not our home. And the more people that die that I love, the more meaningful that becomes. We will always be here for you guys, for Belinda and Patrick, America, Jesse, Olivia, Jim, Woody. Thank you so much for loving him and being there for him and supporting him. And we will always remember him and keep him alive. We'll keep him alive in our memories, our hearts, our spirits, and we'll one day have funny talks about him and enjoy the memories that we have of him, just like we enjoy our memories now of our other departed loved ones. Thank you. I want to introduce Shirley, a dear friend of Belinda and Ricky and family.
Good afternoon. My name is Shirley Lewis. I'm a friend of the Mendiolas, all the family. I consider everybody as family. But I'm going to be reading to you guys from John 14:1 through 3. I like to do this because I feel that I feel him through this. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself. That's where I am. There ye may be also. So I would like for all you guys to take that in and soak it. And Rick loves all of you guys, and I do too. May God bless you. May God bless the readers, the hearers, and the doers of his holy word. Amen. That's it, I think.
Jim's going to say a few words. I just want to thank everybody for coming out and helping out with the family. Everybody loves Ricky, and I miss him so much. Everybody has stories about Ricky. I have plenty too, but they're probably not appropriate for this time. He was my best friend. I'm going to miss him very much. I just want to thank everybody again for coming out. You want to say something?
Okay, thanks. Oh, I'm too tall for the. Hold up. Okay, whatever. I'm Ricky's favorite cousin, Ollie Olivia, aka aka Sasquatch. If you knew me as that. I spent a lot of time with Ricky the past few months. He'd take me to the mall, pick me up from school, and do all that. Okay. He got me into every single music taste that I've ever had. We'd go on late night drives while he blasted the music from his car. I played some video games on his computer while he went away to Vegas. It was pretty nice. But I'm really gonna miss him and all the arguments that we had over the dumbest things ever. And I'm gonna miss him bothering me at 4 a.m, asking me to make him a burger. Extra cheese, another patty. 4 minutes on one side, 4 minutes on the other. But no offense, Jesse, but he was the best cousin. And I'm gonna miss him a lot. Your turn now.
Hi, I'm Jesse. I was his nephew, if you didn't know that. His favorite nephew. Just saying that. Made that clear. AKA favorite person. But, just a quick story. He, picked me up from one of my basketball games and no one couldn't. And we went to CC's Pizza, and we almost ate like 4 of their pizzas. Kind of thought they were going to kick us out for a minute. But, it's alright. We had like 7 brownies too. Later we had some problems, but it's alright. But he got me into all the music I know too, honestly. I'd be like, yo, Ricky, what song is this? Cause, yeah. Anyways. I'm gonna miss him a lot. Thank y'all.
If anybody else wants to say anything, you can.
I'm gonna take this off for a second. Okay. Some of y'all may know me, some of y'all may not, but just a friend of Ricky's and Belinda's. Okay, so I just wrote a little something. When someone close to us dies, we might be called upon to say something to honor their memory. In those moments, even the most eloquent among us might be at a loss for words, which I know many of y'all are. I see a lot of his closest friends here and whatnot, and I know how hard it can be. And it's completely understandable. How can we sum up the life of the person and their impact on your life in just a few minutes? Although it is an honor to have known Ricky, writing a speech that does them justice can be hard in your state. But as I stand here and I look around and have seen how he has interacted with many of you, whether it has been him barbecuing with his friends and family, enjoying a swim at his cousin/grandma's house, in the pool, or hanging out at the beach with Jim and his friends and family, with many of y'all, or offering a helping hand at times when my car broke down and I needed a ride, and he just gotten out of work and he had no problem picking me up. But he was truly a humble person, and I know he has impacted many of your lives, so I leave you with this. Those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day. Unseen, unheard, but always near. Still loved, still missed, and very dear. Thank you.
the hardest thing I've ever done. Ricky, this is the first time I've ever owned a Flamingo t-shirt. For those of y'all who don't know me, I'm Pat, which means I'm better friends with Belinda, Rick, and Ricky. Y'all's families opened up to me, and Pat, you're the first friend that I've ever known that Matt, John, and some of the other guys would go hang out with your family, including Mr. Ricky. I love Ricky. His smile is infectious. We can all agree his laugh is just amazing. He would start to laugh, and I don't even know why. I would just start laughing with him. Like Pat said, I have a bunch of stories I can tell, but maybe not now. Now's probably not the best time for it. One story I will say is we went on a cruise together, and he was just having a good time. There was this one bartender that would always follow him around, and every time he saw Ricky, he's like, "Mr. Ricky, hey, Mr. Ricky," and it made him so happy. The entire time, he just kept saying, "Mr. Ricky." Oh, man. He would always just pick us up whenever we needed to. Belinda, you've raised 3 good guys, and I include Rick as one of those guys that you raised. You did awesome. They would always lend you the shirt off their back. Like I said, they made all of his friends feel like family, and that is because of you, Belinda. So I love you, Pat, America, Jay, whatever y'all need.
Hi, my name's Lisa. It's probably been about a good 10 years since I've hung out with the guys, so even though it's been that long, I just felt like it wouldn't do Ricky justice to not kind of share a few memories. Matt. One of my milestones, I think everybody milestone is your 21st birthday. I had the pleasure of being able to have my 21st birthday at your home. So I'm sure she's like, "What? When did that happen?" I have no idea. But literally, it felt like a home. Just the sweetest individual, super infectious laugh. I know he loved animals. As a matter of fact, I wish I knew if she was here or not, but we ended up taking a cat home from one of his friends that was there. So we both share a love for animals. I do remember y'all's dad coming in, poking his head in, cracking a corny joke with us. And I know that timing is never going to be enough. My family has lost a cousin unexpectedly, or too soon, I should say, and we commemorate her by eating favorite foods, spending more time together, because that's all we really have. So I just want to thank him for his friendship and all the great memories that I'll never forget. Having fun. I'm sorry, my condolences.
How's it going, everybody? My name's Randy. Honestly, I wrote a bunch of stuff down, but I crumbled that shit up and I threw it away just because there's just so many things, and I feel like it's very hard to do just exactly how much of an impact I don't even call him my friend, I call him my brother Ricky. It's like a lot of people say, when you came into that house, it was always welcome, And I've been wrestling with a lot of different things, I guess, with this whole situation. that I'm sure some people are probably feeling a little bit similar. So it's, I guess, just to get it out of the way. It hurts. It hurts so much that I'm sure not the only one, but we had all these little plans, and I really thought that we were going to be the old guys, And I know that he wanted to be for damn sure, because I can't tell you how many times I've sat in his room and we would be at the party, because the party was always at Ricky's house, and his dad would roll in, and his dad would be like, oh, put some bread in the pitcher and pour some beer in there and make it taste better. And we were like, okay, just going along with it. And at the end of it all, I just, every time I can hear his words saying, and I it's almost verbatim. He's like, man, I'm gonna be that old guy someday. You know what I mean? And so there's a lot that it's really difficult, and it's hard for me not to get upset, and it's hard for me not to be a little bit angry, because, and I hope this isn't out of turn, I really do, but I know that he loved life very, very much. And that's the part that's eating me up. And I'm sure a lot of us feel similar. And at the same time, I think all of us are really blessed to have had so many good memories with Ricky. Because, man, I could just go down and down. And I think I would like to share some of those with you. First and foremost, I know that he loved his family so, so much. He probably wouldn't tell some of y'all this, but he was like my diary, and I was like his diary sometimes. And so, for sure, he loved Patrick. He loved his cousins so, so much. Like, I'm his buddy, but those guys, you guys are always on pedestals, untouchable, you know what I mean? And little things, like, there's so many things I always remember, and I look back and I see, like, how proud he was. Like, one time I think we were helping Pat move or something, and Pat was getting busy, like, tying all these knots up real sick, and everybody's, like, tripping on Pat, and we're, like, a bunch of kids, like, watching him do it. And he, like, kind of says to me, he goes, man, Pat rolls the best knots, And I remember, there's so many things too, like, I truly mean this. I would not be the man that I am today without my friend. I can't even pick a song and tell you, that I didn't hear it at his house first, or that we didn't jam out at one of him and his dad's, like, famous couch concerts, you know what I mean? And there was one time we really took it to the next level. We were listening to all these, like, Red Hot Chili Peppers music videos, and Ricky busts out these, like, glasses that he had from the Pink Floyd Laser Light Show, right? And we put that on, and we were sitting there, big grins, and I look over at Ricky, and he's got these glasses on. And I was into it, right? But I look at Ricky, and he was, like, really, really into it, right? So he's sitting there, and he's got the glasses on, and he's just doing this, like, Stevie Wonder and shit, you know what I mean? Like, and man, some of the best nights of my life were always in his company, and I feel like he is honestly so embedded in my spirit, and I feel like that's the way for a lot of people. Like, even when this whole thing first happened, there was parts of me where I would pick up the phone and I would almost text him, or admittedly, I feel like any little accomplishment or any little funny story, even now, I catch myself kind of going like, man, I can't wait. Like, I can't wait to talk to this about Ricky, so we could have, like, it just, like I said, that guy, he was really like my diary sometimes, man. Like, there's some things that I could tell him that I couldn't tell anybody, and yeah, man, it's insane, and it's so frustrating sometimes too, because again, he loved life so much, and I'm so incredibly proud because he was trying so hard at the end, and I was so excited to share his success. If y'all didn't know, he was working on a video game, and that was like, that blew my mind. You know what I mean? He was in school, he just got a new job, and again, the part that I keep wrestling with is just, I'm trying not to be bitter. And I think a lot of us kind of feel the same, because the Mendiolas have been through a lot, and this was definitely not something that we needed to go through. But so the only type of comfort that I really have is, because he loved life so much. I feel like we all owe it to him, really truly, to live it. You know what I mean? Like one of the last messages I sent to him, and I'm so happy that I sent to him. I said that I wanted to go on vacation with him, you know, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm down. Let's go. You know, like whenever you want, let's do it." And when I got the news, I happened to be on vacation, and there was a part of me where as soon as I got it, you know, I wanted to go home. And then there was a big part of me that I didn't really want to go home so much either, because I didn't really want to face all the stuff that was going to happen. And I started thinking a whole lot, you know. And my mother had told me that look for signs, you know, look for signs. And so one of the first signs, I happened to be driving, and I didn't know where the heck I was going, so I typed in like grocery store because I needed to get some liquor in me quick, you know. And I typed in the grocery store, I GPS'd it, and when I got there, it was Albertsons. And I realized that was the first place that I ever met Ricky and Belinda. Actually, I don't even know if you remember that, but it's the first thing that I could remember. It was at the Albertsons at Petrenko and 151. And it's just so funny that absentmindedly I ended up there, you know what I mean? So I got down and I got to walk around, and I just went down memory lane. And like I said, I mean, I'll give you a couple more just because he was such a funny guy, man, like such a funny guy. One of my favorite stories, just because he had me and my dad going for a minute. He called me up, and he was trying to help my buddy Chris do an oil change. And he's like, yeah, or no, we got to put oil in, he says. He's like, do you have a funnel? I need a really, really small little funnel. And I was like, yeah, I got a funnel. So we started looking around, and I'm like, I got this funnel. It's, you know, it's pretty small. It's the smallest one I got. It's a little bit smaller than my pinky, right, in terms of the hole. And he's like, nah, I think we're going to need something a little smaller than that. And I was like, a little smaller than that? And so I'm like, all right. So I call my dad. I'm like, you got any other funnels, man? Like, he said, it's like a real weird car. And so we're sitting out there for about 30 minutes. And then I get a call back, and Ricky's just dying laughing. I hear my buddy Chris laughing on the other end as well. And they realized that they were trying to put oil where the dipstick goes. You know what I mean? And man, that was like, even my dad will always, like, every time we change that oil, it would bring that up. You know what I mean? Oh my God! I mean, like I said, there's so many of them. There was the other time we were sitting at the lake, and on that note too, man, if y'all didn't know, Ricky loved water. So anytime you're at the pool, you're at the beach, especially, he loved the beach, man. You know, you close your eyes and you remember him, because I guess that's really the only thing that I can do right now is just be where he loved to be and do what he loved to do. You know what I mean? But there was this time we went over to the lake, and we were talking, and in the middle of the conversation, I guess he thought there was a rock next to his foot or something. So he tried to like put his foot up, like kind of like a Captain Morgan pose, you know? And there was no rock there, and it was just like a hole, and he just like fell over. Well, like he had this big smile like the whole way down, you know what I mean? And we just like watched him go, and that other time, this is like never forget this one too, just because. And I always rubbed it in. I know it bothered him a little bit, you know what I mean? But I had this real ghetto little Jeep that I used to drive around, man, and we put a lot of miles on that. I had to help him get me to pop that clutch a couple times, and one time my dad was like, I just need you boys to push, and I'm going to pop that clutch. And we said, all right. We ran up and down that block about 3 times, and my dad realized the handbrake was on the whole time. And Ricky was pissed. He's like, man, you had me all sweating out there. You know, he was so annoyed, but, you know, I know he would have done it again in a heartbeat if we'd asked him. But in that same little Jeep that we shared a lot of memories and a lot of summers and a lot of laughs and a lot of other inappropriate things. There was this one time where I was pumping gas, and I put the brake on again, that notorious brake, and I got Chris again, and I got Ricky in the car, and I'm walking away, and I just hear this shrill, like blood curdling scream, and I hear my Randy, and I turn around and I look, and I see like my 2 friends going downhill in the Jeep, and the handbrake wasn't all the way on and shit, you know, and I ran over and I pulled that brake out, and I'm yelling, I'm like, pull the brake, and they're like sitting there trying to step on it, but it's stick shit, and I'm like, no, pull the handbrake. And yeah, so I rubbed that in for a while, and, you know, he would get so annoyed, you know, because I would make fun of his scream, and I was like, it's all right, you know, it's just a little Ricky calling for his daddy, right? And he would get so pissed off about that, but oh my God, like I said, man, there's too many memories, and yeah, That's all I got, guys. Thank you so much.
Let's keep it going. Anybody else? I'd like to hear some funny stories Ricky used to do. Anybody else? Come on, there's a lot of people here. I'm sure I got some more stories about him. We'd love to hear them. Yes, sir.
This is so hard. I'm Jonathan. I'm real close to Ricky. Spent countless hours in his room listening to music, playing video games. And the only time I could see Ricky getting mad was when he would lose to Street Fighter. He would get so mad. But other than that, he'd always be in a good mood, always smiling. You know, go have a beer, have a good time, and just, we had wonderful, countless memories. Belinda always had her home open to me, and I just loved every memory I have there, especially with Rick. I'd be hanging out in Ricky's room, and Rick would be like, come over here, come listen to this song. Come on. All right, I'll be out there. I just want to hang out with Ricky for a little bit. Man, we've been to the beach countless. We went to Garner State Park. I had plenty of times, man. I remember he barely got there when he sprained his ankle, so he couldn't do nothing the whole time we were there. He was just sitting in his chair. I felt bad for him. Poor Ricky. But, you know, I can't listen to no music without thinking about Ricky, especially Rick. Just gonna miss you so much, bud. You're just gonna be missed a lot. And I thank you for all those memories. You won't be forgotten, that's for sure. Thanks.
Anyone else?
Well, as most of you know, Ricky kind of started a new career. I know he did the gaming, but he also started working with us at World Finance. And the biggest thing was I knew of Ricky the year before, since last year, and I had talked with him, interviewed him, and that's when COVID kind of hit. So we kind of waited a little bit to hire anybody. But the moment I called him, I was like, "Hey, Ricky, I got a position." Like, I remembered him. He was so impressionable. He was ready to go. He's like, "Man, I'm ready." He goes, "What I got to do? I can start tomorrow." Like, he was so excited just to come and give him the opportunity. And I didn't get a chance to work with him every day, but the days that I was in the office, I was actually recently there for 2 days, and I spent the days with them. And he was like just nonstop making us laugh, just talking, joking around. And I told him, because his manager there, which is Mr. Michael, just became a grandfather. So I would tell him, "You got to step it up, Ricky. You're a grandpa now. You know, you're part of the family." He goes, "Yeah. I'll take care of the baby. Like, no worries." Like, he was going to take care of everything. Like, you know, he had everything down. And he never walked in a day without a smile on his face. He was always joking, always happy. The atmosphere, anytime he was around, was always a positive one and always happy, and it made a big difference and a big impact on my life, and I'm pretty sure on Michael's also.
Hello. This is a little difficult for me. I'd say for the past 2 months, I've been with him every day. And you're right, his laugh was infectious. His attitude, everything about him was just, it was something that we hadn't seen before. He was just, I don't even know how to describe it, but you all know it. And every day he walked in, it was just this big, bright smile on his face. And it got to a point, because it's a little bit of a small office, so, I mean, we have conversation pretty much all day, every day, in between what we're doing. And he shared a lot of personal information with his life with me. And he shared some tears. And, you know, in the 2 months, we got pretty close. And he did mention his video games. And when he did try to talk about it, I told him, you might want to talk to my son about that. I'm a little too old for that, but I'll listen. I'll listen. So when he came to my speed, he talked about music. And he talked about all the concerts and everything that he had experienced. And so that was our connection. And when I did say that I was going to be a grandfather, he always wanted to know what was going on. And it was just like our daily conversation that I'm going to miss. And like I said, his laugh. And I can still hear it a little bit. Even up to the last day that I was with him. Just to share a little bit of information, he was doing really good. I remember walking in, and as a new associate, he was talking to one of our customers, and you know, he was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, you're doing fine. You're doing fine. And then he would do that, and he would constantly look at me and say, what do I do? And I'm like, do what you do. You're doing fine. And then he would start laughing with them, and I'm like, what is he laughing about? And he's just, you know, these are not people that we normally see every day, but he would just laugh, and then I could hear them laughing. So I'm like, okay, whatever he's doing is really good. And but the last day, he said that his stomach was bothering him a little bit, and the father in me is like, well, are you okay? Are you feeling okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna stand up a little bit. Seemed fine. Everything was good. I said, you know, I'm gonna go get you a soda. You want a Sprite? And he's like, yeah, I'll take a Sprite. So near our office, there's like a Valero next door. So I walked and got him a Sprite, and I'm walking in, and as soon as I hand him the Sprite, my thumb goes through the whole thing, and it spills all over him. And I was like, oh my God. And he just started laughing, and he's like, well, I know you wanted me to take my shirt off, but I mean, you could just ask. And so he just always had those ways, and everything that you all share as a family, I experienced in the last 2 months, and he's gonna be with me forever. And going home, I talked about him with my family, and you know, and he's, like you said, that life that he loved is something that I'll cherish, and so I just wanted to say a couple things. So, and I really appreciate the time. Thank you.
So this is a little different for me. So me and Ricky grew up together since first grade. I know most of y'all probably don't even know who I am, but I grew up with Patrick, John. We grew up playing street ball, basketball. One day I was riding my bike across the street, and I see Ricky and Patrick playing basketball outside. And you know, I asked them, I was like, hey, can I play with y'all? And they're like, sure. And I think John even joined in with us later on that day. And we just became really close friends. And everybody mentioned how Ricky was really into music. And for Christmas one year, my parents decided to get me a guitar. And I was determined to learn music. I was determined to learn guitar. And every time I learned a new song, I would rush over to Ricky's house to show Pat and Rick and their dad the song I learned. And it was always, they would always request me to learn a new song. And so the first song I'll never forget was Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water. And Rick asked me if I could learn that, Mr. Mendiola. And I went home, I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. And I went home, and I remember back in the day, you had to record it, you know, with the tape recorder. And I would sit there and wait for the song to come on. And when it came on the radio, I'd record it so I could listen to it and see like how it sound. And I was so excited when I learned it, I ran straight over there and showed played for them in their, theater room that they had, and it was just a fun time. Rick brought a lot of laughter to me, and all of us, I guess should say. And one of the funniest things that I can remember was that we had a trampoline in my backyard, and Ricky came over to jump on my trampoline. And I was very timid with the trampoline because I was afraid to break something. And that kid jumped on the trampoline and did a backflip. And I was super impressed. I'm like, holy cow. I was like, I'm not even lying. He did that multiple times. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I can do it too. I want to try it. And he was like, come on, you can do it. He was always encouraging. Whether it was good or bad, it was super encouraging. Me and him have several stories growing up as kids. And to this day, I think that's what hit me the most was having those childhood memories. So, thank you.
Anyone else? Come on, let's keep Ricky's legacy going. Celebration of life. Got a whole other hour to go.
My name's Anthony. I grew up with Ricky. In the later years, we kind of weren't like the closest of friends, but all this week, it's really hard to imagine him, like my childhood, without him being there, like all the guys over there. And just because of all the memories that we made, man, I can remember him. First time I ever met him was like in the 2nd grade. He just came up to me, tapped me on the shoulder, and he's like, "Hey, you're Josh's brother. Like our brothers know each other." I'm like, "What's up, dude?" And like, he's just this big white shirt, and that was the first time I ever met Ricky, and it just kind of just this cohesive thing just happened over the years, man. Where we were always together growing up. We got into the music. Ricky got his own thing. We got into the skateboards. Here comes Ricky down the street with his skateboard. And just all those times, the parties, prom night, throwing down on the kegers, getting trampled over in his backyard while everybody's trying to run from cops out into the ditch. And it's like I said, man, there's a huge portion of my life where I just cannot imagine being there because just spending so many nights where these guys are playing Street Fighter with each other, going at it. We're used to throw workouts, throwing bag work, rolling blunts, talking about life, talking about things we hated, and things we liked. And it's all happened in one night sometimes, so it's the way it was, man. And the only thing I say to the Mendiola family is just thank you for having a wonderful son that I can share a lot of experiences with. Pat, you had an awesome brother, dude, and nobody got anything negative to say about Ricky just because he was a good dude, man. And I remember all the times that just laughing so hard, and Ricky's just sitting there not even telling any jokes, man. He's just laughing at mine, and he's laughing. I was just cracking up, man, and it's the way it was. And beautiful guy, and I hope y'all get through this, man. It's been hard for y'all. It's gonna be hard for everybody, and it only brings us closer in the end, man. So that's all I gotta say. Thanks.
And I wish I would have grown up with you guys. That was a lot of fun. Met Ricky. Really cool dude. Anyone else?
Hey, my name is Matt. I knew Ricky through my cousin John. I would go over their house and sort of God, I can just walk into the house right now and hear like fucking Rick just air drumming to his music. They're like, hey, Matt. I'm like, hey, what's up, Rick? And just go to Ricky's room, and Ricky's just chilling there and shake his hand. More people than you can count in his room, all playing games or watching music or listening to music. He was like my first follower on Twitch. It's so funny. And he was the only guy like who would keep subbing to me. It was like my one subber. And I'd just be like, Ricky. And then he'd just be like, hey, type it out. And I would follow him, and we'd just game till like the late hours of the night. I remember we got so competitive that we almost came at like odds, you know? We would talk mess to each other all the time, and something happened. I don't know if we went to a concert or a bar, but like we just like reconnected again. It was so weird. We started calling each other a lot. We started hanging out a lot more. I would just go over there and hang out with him. And he's the only one I hung out with that was like, you know, my sister's age, you know. It wasn't even an issue. Like, I mean, not an issue, just you wouldn't think about the age with him. He just was somebody you could talk to, always there, always there. Like, yeah, it's hard to articulate right now when I think about him because it's so much. I just can't believe he's right there and not out here. Like, even at the bar, we went to go have a drink, and I still expected him to come through the door and just, you know what I mean, just sit down and have a beer. Yeah, I couldn't thank him enough, man. Just for giving me the memories and the great times and just anything. Like, I just remember, like, I used to live downtown, and he would come and just park in my backyard randomly. I would look out the window, and I'd see Rick's car there, and it's like 2 a.m., so he's coming back from the bar. I'd go out there and just hang out with him for a second, just talk, and wanted to come in. He could come in, spend the night. We make him breakfast the next day, you know. It's just hard letting him go. You know, he had a heart of gold. He really did. Now I'm gonna miss him, and I love y'all too. All right.
Hello, I'm Chris Roundy. I'm Ricky's cousin. I'm a big crybaby, so it kind of took me a minute to get up here. But I love my family. I love Ricky. And I'm going to miss him. One story I want to share. It was like 3 or 4 years ago. I was a server at Cheddar's. I was like the worst server. But met a lot of cool people, and it was one day after work. Everybody was like, yeah, we're going to go hang out together. So, you know, I was like, sure, whatever. I never hung out with these people, so let's see how they are or whatever. So I go to this house party, and Ricky's sitting there, like, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? You know, like, and he's just like, yeah, I know some of these people too, like, and I'm just like, wow. But I don't care, like, who else was at that party. I just hung out with him the whole night. But yeah, I'll always remember that. It was probably one of the best times. But yeah. He was funny, he was cool. That laugh. I'll always remember him. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I know it's kind of tough coming up here and saying some words of loved ones that you just passed, or friends, or, always been in your life. But, yeah, it's kind of tough. I was looking at his dog while y'all were speaking. I bet he's got some stories to tell. If he could only speak. I think he can. Once he closes the door with just him and Ricky, he'd probably, hey, you going to feed me today or what? Anyone else? Ladies? There you go. Thank you.
I'm gonna try not to cry. But I felt I had to come up here. I'm Ricky's oldest cousin, and there was 5 of us. They were all boys. I was the only girl, and I had to take care of them. So he was like a brother to me too. I just wanted to come up here and say a few words. Ricky, if you're here with us in spirit, I want to tell you that I love you. And I'm very, very proud of you. You always told me that I could finish school and be somebody. You always said that. You always pushed me to finish and never to give up. And when I found out that you were going back to school and that you were going to school, I was so very proud of you. And I'm sorry that I didn't get to tell you that I was proud of you. And I was at that bar the other night. I don't go out. I don't drink. I don't do nothing. And I was there for him. And I felt the same way. I was waiting for him to come through that door so I could spend one last moment with him. I love you, Ricky. I'm proud of you. And I want to say one more thing. Anytime we ever had a gathering, or I was at Belinda's house, and Pat was involved, he would always have this moment and tell Belinda, yeah, Mom, you always say you were always Pat. Pat's always a favorite. Pat's always a favorite. It would always come out of his mouth. Till this day, he would say it, right? I just want to say, Ricky, you're my favorite. I love you, and I will dearly miss you. I don't know what I'm going to do without him part of our lives, but I will try to have his memories with me wherever I go, whether it be bingo, casinos, Vegas, the beach. I will have him with me. I love you, Belinda, and I love him, and I love all of you boys. Thank you.
I didn't think I would come up here, but I'm already here, so. I guess I would just like to thank everyone for coming, showing love to my cousin and my family, and, giving your prayers and telling your stories. Ricky was my cousin. I was his little cousin, and sometimes I felt the other way around. And, him and I were the youngest out of everybody, so I always felt like we had to be in competition. And I thought I was doing pretty good because I was better at sports. I was a little faster than him. I would tell him I was more good looking and that he couldn't touch me on the dance floor. I didn't know that, that stuff didn't really mean anything because I could have been better than him at everything, but he was a better cousin. He was a better brother. He was a better friend and a better guy than I could ever be. He shared his home with me. He shared his parents with me. He gave me anything that he could. For like 5 years or something, he was the first person I woke up to, the first person I talked to. I started my day and I ended it with him. We would go out and do whatever. And I'd like to, thank him and thank his friends because everywhere he went, he let me tag along. You guys let me tag along. I was at every party at like the 5th grade. I got to see everybody run from the cops in the backyard. And I just got to go into my room. He was loved by many because he loves, everybody. When he come home, we just chill and talk, and he would tell me about the things that he just did with his friends or just stuff like that. He loved you guys a lot. He always came home and talked about it. He looked like a little, I would call him a high school girl in love. Today, me, Randy, and Chris, we, I'm not going to say that stuff, but, I was with John and his brother and, so on and so on. And I wasn't thinking about this till recently because Patrick and I have been together, planning some of the stuff, picking some of the pictures, and it was like Patrick left for the Navy and, it was just Ricky and myself. And we always talked about Patrick. We wondered what he was doing out there. Or we thought it was so cool that he was out there. Wondering when he was going to come back. Ricky and I always thought if he was thinking about us while he was out there. I got to see a lot of cool arguments between them. But he really did love you a lot. We know we love you a lot. Ricky was just, I don't know, he was just the first person to make me mad or the first person to make me laugh each day. He was my best friend. He was my older brother that I didn't want to claim because that meant he was better than me. He was beautiful. And he wanted me to say, it hurts and it makes me happy because I could just hear his voice in my head. All he wanted me to say was, let's party. And I guess that's all we can do. Thank you.
Someone else? Anybody? Yes.
My name's Abby. I'm a friend of Ricky's. I've known him for a long time. It's kind of funny to see all the flamingo shirts and stuff here because I lost someone close to me 10 years ago this October, and she was always called a flamingo by her friends because she had these really skinny legs. And I don't know, I just been finding that a really funny connection, and particularly because both that person and Ricky just had a real love for life, and if you were in their company, you were having a good time. I'm not sure if I have any single stories that are as rich as some of the ones I've heard here so far, but it's hard to pick out a memory when you have a lot of memories. And I just think that moving forward, and even up to this point, when I think back about how rich my life has been, Ricky is definitely one of those people that made it that rich. I've always had this kind of moniker that I would kind of tell people. I'm like, I have a close fist of friends because there are 5 people in my life of friends that hold weight like no one else. And Ricky is and will always be one of those people. I'm going to miss him, and, like others, there are things I look forward to in the future that I would have wished to have been able to share with him and, have him there for. And though he won't be there in person, I know he'll be with us, with that energy that was Ricky. Because Ricky was a really unique energy. And I'm just going to miss that company. And, to Pat, to Belinda, I wish you all the best in just getting through this. So that's
Anybody? Yes.
I don't know if everybody knew this, but Ricky used to do cartwheels like crazy back in the day. Even though he's always been pretty big, everybody knew. But man, that boy could cartwheel like crazy. When little Daniel said that about his trampoline, it just reminded me about that, and I just wanted to say that. It was funny. I remember one time when we were kids, Ricky used to rollerblade too, and he was freaking good, like really, really good. He was like the wind on rollerblades, guys. One time he got super excited. He was in the garage. He ran inside. He came to talk to me. He was like, "Hey, I got a new trick. I want to show you. Come out here." I was like, "All right." So I go in the garage. He has the garage halfway down. And and he's like, "Watch this." He backs up all the way to the back of the garage wall and just pushes and takes off. And he's going as fast as he can. I was like, "Oh crap, he's gonna do it." He ducks down and boom, hits the garage. Does a flip and everything. Oh man, it was hilarious. I just had to share that because it's one of my favorite memories of Ricky. He was so funny, but he had that smile, and I'm like, all right, I'll go out there, check it out. Again, thank you all for all your stories. I mean, you made it a lot easier for me to come back up here and say something that I wanted to say. So thank you.
Hello, my name's Christian, or Chris. I'm the Chris from Randy's story that couldn't help Ricky change the oil out of the car, unfortunately. And the one that went riding down the Jeep on that hill, that was also me in there. Like Pat, thank you all so much for all the memories that you shared with Ricky, because it helps me get up here and talk about him, because it's really, really difficult. I met Ricky in 3rd grade. And every day we would walk home together from school, Randy, Abby, Anthony, Brandon, and myself, and we all lived in the same neighborhood, and we would just all get off together. at our houses and say bye to each other. And that was what we looked forward to every single day, was just being together and talking about whatever happened that day. And it was and is some of the most precious memories that I hold dear to my life. And I know the great thing to hear from so many of us tonight is how supportive he was of everybody, whether it was your Twitch or learning a new guitar song or encourage you to do that backflip on the trampoline, you know. No matter what it was that you were trying to better yourself for, he would support you 110% relentlessly and be so proud of you that you even tried. And you'd feel good for it, you know. You feel like you had someone backing you and in your corner. And that was Ricky. He is a beautiful soul. And one of the memories that I keep thinking about lately was going to the beach with their family. They invited me when I was about 16. And I was so joyed and I felt so happy to be part of that family. Like everyone said, that the door to the house was always open. All of us could just walk in and say hi whenever we wanted. It was wonderful, wonderful place to be. And it connected so many of us that are here tonight. But we went to the beach, and late at night I was sitting on the beach with Rick Sr. and Ricky, and we were just having the time of our lives, and a storm started to come in, and we were on the beach, and in the distance it was just nighttime, but you could see the thunder and the lightning, and it would light up the whole sky, and you could see the clouds. And both of them together, they were just in awe of it, and we all were, but it was so cool to see them together, just loving the beach and loving each other. And that's who they were. And we will miss them. And thank you so much.
You want to keep it going? Anyone else? So, you know, everybody's listening to everybody's stories. Ricky was a beautiful spirit, man. Beautiful. I think all of us need a friend like that at one time in our lives.
Thank you for everybody coming. I'm Ricky's uncle. Ricky used to tell me a lot of stuff. The only thing I used to like what Ricky used to make for me, pecan pie. I called him and then he used to tell me, well, what do you want, Mio? Oh, I like your pecan pie. And he made it. And then after that, he said, well, and he used to call me a name that I didn't want to like, I want to say it. He used to call me, hey, pendejo. He used to call me that every time when I used to talk to him, But Ricky, I missed him a lot. I loved him. He was my nephew. I loved him a lot. And he used to tell me a lot of stuff. He used to tell me, hey, why you don't want to smoke, marijuana? I said, no, dude, I used to do it before. I don't do it no more. That's way in my past already. It's past already for me. I don't do that no more. These guys, they do. No, I don't. They used to tell. They used to tell me, come on, Woody, let's do it. They said, no, hell no, I don't do it no more. No. I used to do it before when I was younger, yeah, but I'm already too old for that. He said, just take a little puff, Woody. I said, no. It's good for you because of your high blood pressure. I said, no, dude, I don't want to. I said, no, that's okay, that's fine. Well, I'll be missing Ricky and my nephew. I hope you rest in peace. And thank you, everybody, coming.
I just want to say I don't know what he was talking about.
That's what tios are for, throw you under the bus. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. My condolences, Belinda and Pat and family. Jim, I love you. You're so sweet. My name's Kat. I lived in the neighborhood, and I was a fellow student of Ricky's as well. And so, I mean, from the beginning of 7th grade when I first met him, he was just so welcoming. I came from another school where people were kind of mean to me, so he was one of the first people in my group, along with Brittany and Kat and Christian and Randy, and everybody was just so welcoming. And through the years, I would always see him, you know, in the neighborhood, just outside hanging around. And some of the last times that I did see him, he was outside watering the plants, and he shared a story of a snake plant that's out in the front that I guess your husband had gotten when he was born. And he was so proud of that snake plant. And I was proud that he shared that story with me, because every time I passed by and see him watering it, it just made me so happy that he was happy to be helping his father keep that snake plant alive that he had done for so long. And I think when you guys got your floorings done, he also just invited me, and he's like, hey, we're getting the floors done. You want to come see it? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And Mr. Mendiola's like, yeah, while you're here, here's a special cookie. If you don't, well, you know, take that home. You know, if you have any pain, or it'll help you with that. So I just loved all of you guys so much for always just welcoming me as well. For over the years, just whenever I wanted to stop by and say hi, I just needed to pick me up, he was always there. And I will cherish his friendship and that smile and that laugh for eternity. And I'll always pass by, and I'll wave at you guys if you're ever there. And hopefully I'll see you guys watering that snake plant too. Thank you.
Anyone else? No one? Yes, you want to come say something? I'm talking to you. Yeah, yes, ma'am. Come on. If not, then this does conclude our service this celebration of life this evening. You know, there's a lot of wonderful stories about Ricky. He's truly loved. You know, and then just keep it going. Just because he's not here anymore, he's here in spirit. He's always be here in spirit. You know, just keep his name and his memory going for the rest of your lives. But again, this is in the conclusion of our celebration of life. Again, on behalf of the Mendiola family, and again, on behalf of Ricky, thanks so much for being here with us and sharing your memories with us about Ricky. Also want to thank the people watching on YouTube. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy evening to support the Mendiola family. Again, Mendiola family, God bless you. Be strong. And God bless everybody in here. And please be careful out there. Have a good night.